race fans, my name is Taylor and welcome back to Above the Yellow Line, the show where we talk all about the NASCAR Cup Series. And happy off season, you guys. I hope you've been able to relax a little bit so far, spend some time with family, since we have our weekends all free, which is a little stressful, but I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit, being able to take a break from recaps and previews and do some more creative content. And I know I mentioned a few months ago I wanted to start a segment called Through the Timeline, where I take you all through NASCAR's greatest moments, worst moments, and not just myself, but the Above the Yellow Line crew and some special guests along the way. And I thought today I'd kick it off because I've got a question from Twitter and on Instagram as well, talking about how I started my NASCAR journey. And I figured what a better way to kick off a brand new segment than to share my journey through my timeline with NASCAR. So without further ado, let's get to it. So where does my NASCAR journey begin? Well, it could have began really early. I know a lot of other NASCAR content creators are lifelong fans. Unfortunately, I am not. I only started watching the sport really closely in 2016. Of course, I could have watched earlier, as my grandma always had the races on her TV during the weekend and still does. When the remote was hers, the remote was hers. The race weekends, you would not touch the remote, you would not change the channel. You'd let her kind of sit and watch the races. And eventually I watched a race with her starting in 2016. I don't remember the name of the race. I also don't remember, I don't remember anything really about it other than I was focused on the TV because there was a problem I saw. And if you know me personally, you know, of course, Taylor would pick this out. But on the broadcast, they talked about two Elliots. And I was like, how can they have two Elliots in the field? It does not make sense. And of course, this was Elliott Sadler. And then the younger Elliott, which is Chase Elliott. This was a truck race. That's all I really remember about it. But I know I gravitated towards watching Chase Elliott during that race because he was young. They talked about him a lot. And also the fact that there was two Elliots, and my mind was blown at that point. So my grandma was like, yeah, pick a driver. I chose Chase Elliott, watched him during the race. Don't remember how he finished the race. But then I was like, all right, this was kind of cool. It wasn't as boring as I thought. So I watched periodically through the 2016 season. And at this point, I still wasn't completely sold on the race. But my grandma and I would start to talk about it every now and then, talk about NASCAR, talk about all the other series. And that's when I started to learn a little bit. I got on social media, I got on Twitter, and started to kind of figure out the sport and what it's all about. But it wasn't until 2017 where things really changed. So flash forward to 2017. Now my grandparents would go to Kentucky Speedway, rest in peace Kentucky Speedway, every single year for a vacation. And obviously, yes, the racing there was not great. And we could have gone to Michigan International Speedway. We could have gone to Indy, and we did not. We just chose Kentucky Speedway as our home track. Regardless, my grandparents were like, hey, do you want to go? We can spend some time together. And my siblings and I absolutely said yes. And fun fact about me, first off, I am a triplet. So this was a unanimous decision. We all wanted to spend time with our grandparents because we were about to go into our senior year of high school. We were like, we don't know when we're going to have time to do this again. So why not? So we all went, and I was growing interest in NASCAR, and that's why they asked to begin with. And I was pretty surprised with how much I really enjoyed my time there. So we get to the track, and at first, I'm amazed. I didn't realize the track was that big. I've seen it only on my TV. I didn't realize how big the cars actually were, and yes, I've seen a car in real life, but I didn't realize like the stock cars and how different they were from actual cars. And then I saw all the RVs, and this was just me being totally out of my depth. It was something totally new. I'm from a small town, and it's like, how does a small town girl, kind of a cliche, but go from being that to a giant NASCAR fan? And it was honestly just being at the track, and that really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I got to talk to a lot of great people. Our neighbors at the racetrack and our RV next to us, we got to talk to and kind of hear their story. And I met people who were going to the race for the first time, like myself. I met people who have been going to the races since they were born, pretty much. And it was so, so cool. And the Cup Series race there, Martin Truex Jr. won. And I just remember being like, all right, this is cool. We heard the engines rev and everything, and I was just amazed. So that was 2017. After that, I was on Twitter nonstop talking about NASCAR, trying to get in with the community because nobody in my hometown talked about it. My parents really didn't talk about it at that time. My sister tried to really get into it. My brother was just like, nah, I'm good. He liked the Target car because I think that was the last year Target was in the sport. But he saw Kyle Larson's Target car and was like, all right, I guess I'll follow that one. That's pretty cool. My sister and I liked Chase Elliott, so we decided to follow him there as well. So that was 2017. Flashing forward to 2018. Now we're in 2018, and 2018 was what I'm going to call my Disney World year a little bit, because the excitement I had at the track marked my equivalent excitement for when I'm in Magic Kingdom at Disney World or I'm in Epcot, and I'm just thrilled. I'm super excited. We decided to go back to the track that year, but with a little bit of backstory. Now, at this point, I was tweeting about NASCAR nonstop. I was getting on my journalist hat, and obviously no, tweeting about stuff and about opinions is not journalism. This was me starting to get interested in that field a little bit, but I was really invested. I was trying to look into the community and everything, and then I look at my messages on Twitter, and there's one from Xfinity Racing, and I was like, huh, that's odd. I didn't know that they tweeted people, and then I open my inbox, and they go, do you and your family want free hot passes for the Kentucky race that you're about to go to? Because I tweeted I was going to go to it. And I was like, this is a scam. I totally thought that they were lying, and I went back and forth because my grandma was like, don't take it because it's a scam. And I was like, well, I got to take a risk. They're verified. I don't know. So anywho, after some back and forth, I decided to say, yeah, I'll take it. Here's my information. Here we go. So we get to the track, me thinking that this is probably still not actually a thing because this is too good to be true. Well, we get there, we get our tickets, and boom, we have the hot passes. Actually, where is it? Oh, okay, yeah, so this is the hot pass from July of 2018. It was pretty cool. I wore this like a badge of honor. It was the coolest thing ever, and when I say I freaked out, when I got to the pit lane and everything, I freaked out. There was a gentleman that came up to me and was like, is this your first time on pit road? And I was like, yeah, why? He's like, you look like it. I was so excited. I honestly, I think I cried a little bit. I mean, it was an experience unlike any other. And it was like at that time when I stepped onto the garage area for the first time, I was like, this is the sport I want to be in. This is what I want to do. And before NASCAR, I was not into sports at all. Yes, I played soccer. I played basketball. I played tennis. I did dance. I did cheerleading for like 3 months and when I was really young. But like, this is the first time I felt like I was actually part of something and that I fit in. And it wasn't because like, great, I got the hot passes, but from my experience in 2017 and then knowing some people and coming back to the track and knowing more people and meeting more people and, you know, sharing in an experience together where you're not talking about politics, you're not talking about like the world as a whole. You're all together because you love this sport. And that is something that's so unique about any sport is you're there because you love it. And when I stepped onto the track, I got to be there I got a hot pass. I got to be there during the race. And so when the Cup Series race was starting, my siblings and we were able to go down onto the track and watch live pit stops happen, which was super cool. We got to be down there for driver intros. Everyone booed Kyle Busch. Everyone cheered Chase Elliott. We all know how this works, but it was cool to actually stand there and have the drivers like 5 feet away from me, seeing what I see on my TV, finally being immersed in the sport, which was so unreal to me. And it's like I fell in love all over again with the atmosphere and the sport and everything. So 2018 was a super cool year that honestly got me hooked on the sport, and that's all I want to talk about. That's all I wanted to do. Also, what's so unique about NASCAR too is you got to like literally sit next to the drivers or like stand next to them, or when they would be talking like outside the track, you got to just stand there and listen to them talk. And other sports, the athletes are so exclusive. Like you can't talk to them. You have to like do a press thing or like get VIP access. The drivers, I mean, Samantha Busch, I think in 2017, she was actually like doing a jog around the track. And I was like, that's Kyle Busch's wife. And no other sport does that. And also from that year when I was on pit road, the flag that's back here, people signed it, and I was amazed. Like, we got Joey Logano. He won the championship that year. I feel like I gave him luck, and I've said that before on the podcast, but now I'm gonna address it. So I met Joey Logano. Chris Buescher was kind enough to, like, walk up to me during, like, driver intros and stuff and sign the flag. Eric Jones did too. Bubba Wallace, I got to meet him at his hauler that year. That was really cool. Ryan Blaney, that one I freaked out a little bit. I also didn't realize how short he was, because I'm 5'11", like, going on 6 foot. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this guy. But I'm a really big Ryan Blaney fan now. He's grown on me throughout the years. And of course, I'm still a Chase Elliott fan, but Ryan Blaney, I think, has taken the cake as my favorite driver just because he's so personable. I've said it on the show many times before, but it was so cool to meet him, and he actually talked to me for a few minutes in between practice, which was awesome. We got Kyle Larson actually signed the flag in 2018 as well, and now he's a championship winner. And so I think this is like all good luck over here. Let's keep it that way. Fast forward to 2019. That was the year I met Chase Elliott. It was a great time. I cried a little bit, but at his merch hauler, I got a signed Funko Pop from him, which was super, super cool. Of course, we went back to the track that year, and unfortunately, that was the last time I was at the track. Of course, 2020, we had COVID. No one was able to go. And then 2021, I haven't been to a race at all. And through that time period from 2019 to now, I've been dealing with multiple health issues that kept me, bedridden, not able to go anywhere. I wasn't able to do classes, wasn't able to work at all in 2019 to 2020. And honestly, NASCAR kind of saved me a little bit because that was the only thing I was able to really do. I was only able to follow the races, talk about them on Twitter, meet a lot of great people through that, and it honestly saved me a little bit. So I'm grateful to the sport for that, and obviously now here we are present day, and I remember I formed an idea for a talk show back in 2019, what I'm kind of doing now. And I didn't have a name for it, didn't have anything. I knew I wanted to do something for newer fans because it's so daunting coming into the sport as someone who's new with a wealth of history in the sport that a lot of people know about that I didn't. And no matter how much I try to learn, I'm not able to remember it or grasp it. And I don't know, I've told you all, my memory sucks. So I don't know if it's something in here or if it's just I get overwhelmed by a lot of the history of it, of this sport. But I wanted to create something at some point back in 2019 that I could use to relate to newer fans, that would also connect to older fans. And because of my health issues, I didn't do it until 2020 when I was at home and COVID hit and I had nothing to do. And so here we are today. So today, I never really imagined that this channel would be where it's at. My Twitter would be where it's at. I started with my Twitter being my personal account, then I slowly shifted it to my NASCAR account. And even this year alone, we started at maybe 300 something followers, and now we're up to over 1,100, which is insane. And thank you all so much for the support. It's just crazy to see, how much this channel has reached people, and how much people have reached out to me, and how many people I've met, which is insane. I know Zachary Bell is the first person in this community that really reached out to me and talked to me, and I'm so grateful to that because from him I was like, all right, I can reach out to more people, I can talk to more people. Then I reached out to Adam, and Adam was like, hey, I know this guy who works at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, worked there and whatever, and he knows about podcasting. You should talk to him. And that's how I met Dom. And now we have this really tight group that's ready to make content and really dedicated to the sport. Rob was one of the first ones to reach out to me, to Rob's young son, to write for the podium finish. And I'm still doing that now, doing some of the weekly questionnaires that we do. And since then, I've been just, creating content for you all and doing recaps and previews and, having a lot of exciting talks about the future of the channel, exciting talks with some special guests for the channel during the off season and beyond, and internship opportunities and everything. And it's been crazy to see where I started as a small town girl from Ohio, not a care in the world about the sport, and here I am today wanting to do this as my career, going to school for journalism, sports management as a minor, or a sort of minor, but really the sport has changed my life, and I owe so much to it and to you guys for supporting me and for inviting me into the community, and for keeping up with the content and for participating with Twitter and Instagram and everything I do. So thank you all for supporting me and following my journey into the sport, and also thank you all for following me today as I share my journey through the timeline, my timeline in NASCAR. Didn't mean to get sappy at the end there, but I really do owe a lot of thanks to you all who support the social media pages, who support this channel, and everything you all do, and obviously a great thanks to NASCAR for giving me some really good direction about what I want to do with my career, and feeling really excited about it. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of Above the Yellow Line, the show where we talk all about the NASCAR Cup Series. Stay tuned for an episode next week, more creative content coming to you. But in the meantime, make sure you check out our Twitter page. We have a lot of fan questions up there, some nightly questions as well that I've been liking to do, some polls, some Twitter spaces as well in the process, and also check out the Instagram page where I post some behind the scenes pictures of the making of Above the Yellow Line, also some updates there about when we post. Finally, check out the podium finish where we do recaps, previews, driver interviews, a lot of fun stuff over there from the world of motorsports and beyond, so make sure you check them out. All of these linked in the description below, but before you check those out, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, share those with your friends and family, and guys, thank you so much for supporting Above the Yellow Line, and until next time, we'll see ya.